I'm Sherry and I'm going to make you some smoked salmon and feta quiche. First thing we want to do is get the puff pastry, which is frozen. You can use any brand you want. And get the pan. You can use a quiche pan, or I've got this funny little pan that Grandma gave me. Line it with baking paper. And then put your puff pastry on top, and that can defrost while cooking. Okay, so to start off with, you need 6 eggs. Hopefully I won't get them on my jumper. It's a bit cold, so, so 1. And these can be cold or room temperature, it doesn't really matter. I've got sort of half and half. Try not to get any shell in there. I'm sure someone's going to tell me I'm not cracking these the best way, but what can you do? Okay. Once you've got the eggs, you want to get some milk. You need 100 milliliters of milk, which, if you don't use mils, if you want to use cups, that would be about a third of a cup, about 100 mils. Put that in there. Now, you need some salt and pepper, and get good salt and pepper, like the sea salt kind that you grind in, because it tastes much better, especially the salt. Sorry, especially the pepper. If you just use the pepper that you shake on, it tastes a bit horrible, to be honest. Now that's to taste, but we like a lot of pepper, so I'll put a lot in. And get a fork, whisk it all up till it's nice and mixed. And then you want to get about a cup of cheese, and I mean a cup of grated cheese, not a cup of cheese, because then you'll have a bit of quiche with your cheese if you do that. Probably should have grated this earlier, but what can you do? Okay, so give your arms a workout, grate your cheese. And I'm just using Tasty, but sometimes we only have Monterey Jack or cheddar or, I don't know, whatever. We just use what we have. It's probably a bit more than a cup, but we like cheese, so that's fine. Stir that up with your fork. And then I'm going to put a bit of garlic in there. Gourmet garden, chunky garlic. And just a little, about half a teaspoon of that. We're going to do about a teaspoon of the basil. I'm just guesstimating. Measuring's overrated. Now mix that up until the basil sort of gets separated. Next thing, we want some feta. Now I got some feta from the deli department because that was $2.18 compared to about $4 or more. And you want to get the Greek feta or the Danish feta, and not the feta that smells like sheep, because that's just yuck. Not this one. So we want to cut that into cubes, and the size of your cubes depends on how big you want them. They can be big, they can be small. If you really like feta and want a big chunk of feta when you're biting into your quiche, then cut them big, otherwise you can cut them fairly small. Put that in. Give it a bit of stir. Next thing, we want our salmon. Now I use the smoked salmon for cooking because it's cheaper and you're cooking with it, so why not? It's a bit of a pain in the bottom to open them. I probably should have done this earlier too. Okay. So this is 200 grams, but I'm only going to put half that in there. Or maybe 3/4. But that's entirely up to you. It depends on how much salmon you want in there. It's already sort of cut up, but I'm just going to cut it a bit finer. And then whack that in there as well. Mix it around. The last thing we're going to put in there is semi-dried tomatoes, which I probably also should have opened earlier. Hold on. Boo! Can you open this for me, please? You should probably open the tomatoes before you start. Okay, got the jar open. By me, I mean my husband. So you're going to want about 8 sun-dried tomatoes or semi-dried tomatoes, whichever ones you can find. 8 halves. And then blot them with paper towel to get all the oil off, because you don't really want to bite into the quiche and then have just like a mouthful of oil. That'd be a bit gross. So yeah, you don't want that. And then cut them up into quarters and put those in there. Stir it up. That looks delicious. Also, I found my lemon, so you want about half of a lemon rind or zest, whatever you want to call it. And that is all that goes in. So, very chunky, very delicious. Now you just have to fix up your pastry. So the pastry's been sitting there, just push it in, take off the dividing sheet, and then fold the corners down so they don't stick up and burn. And pour it in. Okay, so this has been in the oven for 45 minutes and it's all done. So we're going to cut it open. With a big knife.